Her business partner turned out to be her secret lover. I always believed betrayal was something that happened to other people, in other marriages, in the stories whispered about neighbors, or in the late-night confessions of friends who'd had too much to drink. I never thought it would walk into my house, slip into my bed, and whisper someone else's name in the dark. I never thought I would find myself unraveling the threads of my own life, pulling at knots until everything I thought was secure began to collapse. Hannah and I met in college. She studied communications. I studied engineering. She was magnetic from the first moment, a woman who carried light inside her. She laughed with abandon. She challenged professors when she thought they were wrong. She believed in impossible dreams. I was quieter, steady, the one who fixed things, the one who listened more than spoke. We balanced each other. I became the anchor to her storm, and she became the spark that kept my days from blending into gray. We married 5 years after graduation, when we had both scraped together enough savings to put down a payment on a small townhouse. It wasn't much, but it was ours. I had always been proud of how hard we worked together. She carved her own path in marketing, slowly building a reputation until she was invited into bigger projects. I built bridges, literally. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We took vacations every other year. We had dinners with friends. We made love with the kind of easy intimacy that comes when two people know each other's rhythms by heart. I thought we had built something unshakable. But then Daniel entered her vocabulary. At first, he was just a name sprinkled into casual stories, her new partner on a project, someone she clicked with. She praised his creativity, how quickly he could generate ideas, how they finished each other's sentences. She said it with that little sparkle in her eye, the one I had always thought was reserved for me. I noticed, but I told myself not to be jealous. Professional admiration, that's all. The late nights began soon after. She would text me at 7:30 p.m. "Don't wait up, we're finalizing a presentation." Or she'd say she had to travel out of town for client meetings that always seemed to fall on weekends. I remember one Friday when she kissed me goodbye with her suitcase already packed and said, "Don't forget to water the plant in the kitchen." I laughed, kissed her back, told her to crush her presentation. I had no reason not to trust her. Until the night I woke at 2:43 a.m. to the sound of her breathing beside me, restless and uneven. She whispered in her sleep, a soft murmur I almost ignored. But then I heard the name, Daniel, clear, like a stone dropped into still water. My chest tightened, my throat burned. I lay there frozen, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing in circles. When she stirred awake moments later, she pulled the blanket closer to her chin, unaware of the grenade she had just detonated in my chest. From that night, I couldn't stop noticing things. Her phone, always locked now. The way she tilted it away from me when she typed. The small, secretive smile when a message buzzed. Once, she came out of the shower with wet hair and a towel wrapped around her, and I saw her glance at the phone screen lighting up on the nightstand. She grabbed it before I could. Suspicion became a sickness. I started checking her calendar when she left her laptop open. I tried to memorize the names of her clients. I even drove past the coffee shop she claimed to be working in once, only to see her car parked outside but no sign of her inside. My stomach twisted, but I had no proof, only shadows. Until the day I found the photos. She had left her iPad at home one morning. Normally it was password protected, but this time it opened with a fingerprint scan I managed to slip in unnoticed weeks earlier. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the gallery, praying I was wrong. And then my heart stopped. There they were. Dozens of pictures, hidden in a private folder, but not hidden well enough. Photos of her in lingerie I had never seen. Selfies in hotel mirrors, lips parted, eyes burning. Pictures of her bare skin with shadows of someone else's hands visible, a man's hand clutching her hip, his reflection blurred behind her. And then, worse, screenshots of her messages with him. The words carved themselves into me like knives. I can still taste you from last night, thinking of your hands on me in the elevator. When are we sneaking away again? There were dates, too. Weeks of them. She had been with him over and over, not once, not a slip of drunken judgment, but a pattern, a rhythm, a second life. Hotel names, times, pictures she had sent him in the middle of the day, while I was at work thinking she was too. My hands shook so hard I dropped the iPad. It clattered against the tile, and I scrambled to pick it up before the sound betrayed me. I wanted to vomit. My head pounded as if the world itself had caved in. I sat there on the kitchen floor for nearly an hour, staring at the device that had turned my marriage into a theater of lies. That evening, when she came home, she kissed me casually on the cheek, humming as she put her bag down. I watched her move around the kitchen, so normal, so familiar, and I felt like I was looking at a stranger in my wife's skin. I didn't confront her immediately. I don't know why. Maybe I needed more proof. Maybe I wanted to see how deep the rot went. So I became a detective in my own home. I checked phone bills, tracked mileage on her car, even considered hiring a private investigator. But I didn't need one. Because the very next week, she told me she had another overnight trip for a marketing retreat. That night, I drove to the hotel whose name I had seen in her messages. I parked across the street, my heart hammering against my ribs. Hours passed. Then I saw her, stepping out of a taxi, dressed in a way I hadn't seen her dress for me in years. Her hair curled, her lips painted red, a short dress hugging her like a secret. And beside her, Daniel. Tall, smug, carrying her bag as if it was the most natural thing in the world. She laughed as she took his arm, leaned into him as they disappeared into the lobby together. I sat there in my car, shaking, watching the windows of that hotel glow against the night sky. I imagined them undressing each other upstairs, her moans muffled against his neck. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Rage, heartbreak, humiliation, all of it boiled inside me. The next morning when she returned home, she smelled faintly of his cologne. I knew because I'd smelled it once on her scarf weeks earlier. She showered quickly, as if scrubbing away the evidence, then kissed me with lips that had kissed him hours earlier. I wanted to scream, but the words lodged in my throat. Days turned into weeks. The lies grew heavier. Sometimes she would come home late, her hair slightly undone, her cheeks flushed. Sometimes I would wake at 3 a.m. and find her texting under the covers, smiling at a glow I couldn't see. Once, I pretended to be asleep and heard the sound of a photo being taken, the shutter click of her camera as she snapped a picture of herself in bed. She sent it to him while I was inches away. Finally, I confronted her. I couldn't carry it any longer. One evening, I laid the iPad in front of her at the dining table. Her eyes widened as she saw the open gallery, the messages displayed. Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. "I can explain," she whispered, voice trembling. But there was no explanation big enough to rebuild the ruin. We screamed, we cried. She swore it wasn't what it looked like, then admitted it was worse than what it looked like. She said it had been going on for nearly a year. That it wasn't just sex. They talked about running away together. That she loved him in ways she claimed she no longer loved me. Every word was a dagger. I asked her how many times. She looked away. I shouted the question again, and she finally broke. "I don't know. 20? 30? More?" She admitted they had taken photos, videos, sent each other fantasies while I was at work. She admitted that the weekend trips had been lies, that he had touched every part of her I thought was mine alone. She cried, but her tears felt like acid on my skin. I wanted to hit something, to break the table, to shatter the windows. Instead, I sat there hollow, staring at the woman I had built my life around, realizing she had burned it all behind my back. Even now, as I write this, I feel the weight of it pressing down on me. The smell of that hotel parking lot, the images on the iPad, the echo of his name in her sleep. They haunt me. Betrayal isn't just an act. It's a poison. It seeps into every memory, rewrites every moment, stains even the laughter we once shared. She begged for forgiveness in the days that followed. She promised to cut him off, to delete the photos, to go to therapy. She said she had made a mistake, that she had been lost, that she wanted to save what we had. But how do you save something that has already been set on fire 100 times over? How do you unsee the images, unknow the numbers, unfeel the weight of another man in your wife's bed? I don't know where this ends. Divorce papers sit on my desk, unsigned. Some nights I want to walk away forever. Other nights, I lie awake beside her, aching for the woman I thought she was. But I do know this: the man I was before the betrayal, the man who believed trust was unshakable, that loyalty was a foundation as solid as the bridges I build, he is gone. And in his place is someone who knows that even the strongest structures can collapse when the cracks are hidden deep enough.